Okay. Okay. Yeah. Great. Thank you very much again for coming to today's Greek class. And today is our 10th grade class. And I have, as I have explained earlier, today's Greek class is actually the last meeting for grammar combined with reading, and basically more grammar. For next meeting for Greek classes, we will concentrate on idiot. I think next time is 22nd of August, right? So 22nd of August, it's grade 11, and it will be idiot reading. Yeah. And I'm not sure if we how soon can we finish it. Probably take more than 2 or 3 years. Yeah, it's a really long text, right? Idiot. Yeah. And probably we will combine Iliad with other epic or other poets, important poets like Pindar, like Sappho. And basically, I just want to show you the different features of the different Greek dialects. Okay. Voice. Okay. Okay. So 这个我就不用中文说了吧，你们应该明白什么意思，对吧 ？OK， 就OK， so so today we start with grammar. So on the left side, you have already seen this is a book by Helmut Blix. This is one of the most important Greek grammar, historical grammar. And on page 146, this is a point. This is the grammar point for the I stem, so E stem, right? So E stem. So why should we look at this one? Yeah. Well, it's because someone left someone left some messages and asked me some questions about the Sanskrit E stem. So probably first we check the Sanskrit, and then we come back to Greek, and to check the relationship between these two languages, two systems. So this is a very typical E stem, right? I think most of you, or probably all of you, have known this, have seen this, right? I just to copy a little bit, just to copy some forms here. So E stem in Sanskrit. So we have nominative. Sorry. We actually have nominative acne, yeah, and accusative is called acne, yeah. So this is pretty easy, right? You see, this is the stem, and this is the stem, and then you put the ending after the stem, right? This is a very direct. Yeah. But from instrumental, we have some problem, and I will explain later. And then dative. Dative is called aknaye, right? And ablative, genitive is actually the same, but I just write one form. Yes. Locative, we can just ignore it. It's a little bit different, but now it's enough. Yeah. So can anyone tell me what is the problem here? Or if you, I think it's difficult to describe, but you find these three forms are really different, right? Because for this for this case, you would, for this one, you can say, well, this is E stem, right? This is E stem. Okay. Yeah, but for this one, it is not an E stem, right? It is an in stem. It's with a nasal stem. So this is an in stem. And for this one, it's a little bit, not that apparent, transparent, but it can also be called an E stem. But take a look. This is not a, so E stem, right? So they are all E stem, but this is the 0 grade, right? 0 grade of E is E, right? But this one is not the 0 grade. It's actually the full grade of E, right? The full grade of E is actually A, right? Okay. But A just becomes I in Sanskrit. Yeah. And this is actually the same. This is A, right? And this is actually the same. Yeah. Again, it is a full grade of E, yeah, right? The full grade of E is A. I should put a sign here. And this A turns into I in Sanskrit. Sanskrit. Okay. Yes. So from this case, we know the E stem in Sanskrit has upload, right? Yeah, this is very important. There's the upload here. I, A, they're basically the same. But why it looks differently? Because this one is before vowel, and this one is before consonant. 就是本质上呢，就是余格和仪格的形式呢，就这个形式是一致的。那为什么会有这种差别呢？就是因为这个的话是在辅音前面，在辅音前面的话，它就会变成 a， 但是呢，这个是在元音前面，所以它就会变成 i， 这就是差别而已。就是一个是元音，一个是辅音。Okay, so the difference is actually here is a vowel before vowel, before consonant, different outcomes. But then here, it is really strange. It's actually called acnin, acninam, right? Okay, it is actually not the single. So take a look. This is the masculine. So acne is actually masculine, right? And if we move on, feminine. So here, masculine. So masculine. And then E stem in Sanskrit, feminine. What is the difference? Feminine. Okay. What is the difference? Again, nominative. We have mati, right? Matis, right? And then accusative, we have matim, right? So it's basically the same. But from instrumental, again, look a little bit strange, right? Matia. And then dative. And from dative, we have actually two forms. Mataye, so actually two forms. Yeah. And ablative, we have Matias, Matias, right? And then we have Mates, right? Okay. And here you also find something strange, right? So this one, dative, is like this one, right? So this is, again, I. And here you have the air, right? As we have explained earlier. This is A, this is A. So now comes my first question. For feminine, if we take this one, number 1, and this form, number 2, so which one is older? So can you tell me, first, Matiai, second, Mataye, or first Matthias, second Mattes, and which one is older? Great. Yes, this one is older. Yeah. So 2 is older. Okay. So now you have a basic idea of the difference between masculine and feminine. Now let's come to the explanation. So probably from this one is probably easier. As you can see, this one, as I said, this one is the younger form. But why do we have this form? Yai, us. So now let's go back to the, wait a minute. Let's go back, let's move on to the E stem. So this is actually the E stem, very important Indo-European E stem. Like this word, Devi, yeah, Göttin, so goddess, right? And you can see for the E stem, so for E stem, Sanskrit, we'll take an example of Devi, right? So this is nominative. And ablative or dative, we have Deviyai, yeah. And also ablative, oh, sorry, Deviyai. We have Deviyas, right? Yeah. So this is basically, so this form, Yai and Yas actually go back to the E stem. 皇后还是妃子啊？这样，这个我不是很确定啊。我们一起来看一看，它到底是皇后还是妃子吧。Well, you see the difference. It's feminine. Devi here. So it's a female deity, goddess. And then queen. Well, it's also called queen, and then princess, lady. So it's actually the daughter of a king or the wife of the king. So actually 皇后或者是公主，对吧 ？OK， 他说的是 queen 对吧？应该不是妃子。OK， but also any woman of high rank， 你也可以指任何一个地位比较高的妇女，对吧 ？OK， so let's turn back to this one. So actually, this ending comes from the E stem, 贵妃，也可以吧。Yeah, and this one is actually more original because this comes from dev plus E. This actually comes from, this is the original form, devi, with a laryngeal at the end. so laryngeal lengthen the e， 就是喉音呢会把前面这个 e 拉长，所以呢我们才会有一个长音的 e。那为什么这个是 i 呢？这种情况是这么来的，我给大家看一看。So again, this is David, right? Sorry. Again, this is David, and again, this is our so again, we have this suffix, right? But for this form, we have upload. So this is a reason. So this is the reason why we have I, because we have an upload here. And to this upload, we also add a dative ending. So dative ending is A, right? And for this form, again, we have, wait a minute. So again, we actually have Dave, and this is an infix. Sorry, this is a suffix, right? But for this suffix, again, we have an upload. So this is actually the upload. Take a look. This is very important. You have to keep in mind. So the logic is actually the same. For E stem or for short E stem or for long E stem, dative ablative has upload. For E stem, dative ablative has upload. So this is the reason why we have different forms. Yeah. Okay, and then you put a S. So it's so S is a typical genitive ablative. Yeah. So genitive ablative is the same. So I can write here. So genitive 属格一般会有个 S， 这个大家都是知道的，对吧？就像英语当中也是有的，对吧？所以呢，这个大家看一下，这个就相当于一个 This is the ya, e laryngeal 2. This is a long a. 这个会变成长音的 a. So it will turn into David Yas. Yeah. Okay. And then, as I said, the short e stem ti is borrowed actually from the long e stem David Yas. But why? Does anyone know why? Because this one make no difference for short E or long E, because they are all here. Why they can be borrowed, they can be mixed? 就为什么这两个会混起来呢？大家想象一下，就这个长音的一和短音的一，你把它当成辅音的话是没有任何区别的，对吧？它都是一个这样的一个音在这里。所以说大家仔细看一下，就是其实这个本质上都是一个半元音一这样的一个音。So actually the basis is actually all the y sound. So it makes no difference for short e or long e. 这个能明白吗？就是所以它才会混起来，因为在这种形式当中，你根本区分不出来短音还是长音了，因为它就是一个 y 这个音在这里。能明白吗？就这个 point 可以明白吗？好，可以行，那我们就继续讲。好 ，So this is clear for the feminine form. Why we have two? Why we have two forms? This one is older. This is the older E stem, and this one is actually borrowed from the E stem. Yeah, okay. And now let's turn back to this form. This form is really weird, right? It's really strange. It is actually not an E stem. It is a yin stem. It's a nasal stem. But why it is? 就为什么要借吧？就是怎么讲呢？就是可能是这个也是阴性的原因。I think the reason probably this is feminine, yeah, and this is also feminine, right? So this is also feminine. Probably it is the reason, yeah. And you can see this is only for feminine, right? And for masculine, it's not just for masculine. We only have this one. Okay. only for feminine, we have 2 forms. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then let's move on to this one. This is the instrumental. Yeah. So I highlighted it. Oh, sorry. I copied here and highlighted here. And you can see this is from the in stem. And now let's move on to something very familiar for all of you. Yeah. This is a declination. This is a stem. I think this is the very beginning of your Sanskrit class. Now let's check this form. So a stem, deva, right? So I just take a very familiar example, deva. And what is the instrumental of deva? It's devena, right? Devena. And you can see here, devach, deva, devam, devayao, devat, devasya. And locative, locative is also actually, so actually locative is called deve, but deve comes from deva plus e. Yeah. So actually deve comes deva plus e, and e is locative. Yeah. So basically it is also R stem, right? But this one is so weird, right? It's not a R stem, but why? Why it's called ena? Yeah, because this comes from pronomen. Yeah, comes from pronoun, and for the pronoun, I can show you. So this is a pronoun, and for pronoun, instrumental is called tena. Yeah. Okay. Now let's move back. Now my question is, these 2 cases, they are all, so instrumental is 就是我先用中文说一遍吧，就是大家觉得这2种情况都在工具格这里出现问题，是一种巧合呢，还是有一点规律？大家觉得是？大家如果一是zufällig，就是 coincidence， 啊，好吧，你们已经打出来了，好吧？OK， 好吧。So actually, this is not a accident. It's not an accidental. It's not coincidence that instrumental is special. Yeah. Instrumental is special. But why? Let's check it. Let's explain it. So now, so in order to explain this, we need to know what is instrumental, right? So let's move back to the grammar by Goto. Yeah. So actually, this is the ending for. So here you can see this is for a stem, but generally speaking, it applies for other forms. Yeah. So take a look. What is instrumental? So for PIE, instrumental, it is H1. So this is the ending for PIE, Proto-Indo-European. So this is the basic form for instrumental, right? And if we check it, if we put this, so assume that we build the instrumental with this ending. So what is the result of this one? I think I should put put this one here. So what is the result of this one? It is actually this one, right? Yeah, this is actually the instrumental, Agni, right? Okay, and for this Agni, probably we can check the dictionary. and to see if we have this. Yeah. Actually, I haven't checked it, so I'm not sure. Yes. Take a look. So this is a form in Lake Veda, right? So Agni. You have it Agnis, Agnim, Agnina, Agnaye, and so on. And here you find it. It's off. There's Agni, right? But take a look. This Agni is dual. Yeah. As you can see in the grammar. So actually, in the grammar, you also find it. This is a dual, right? So for dual, the dual, Agni should be with which one? Can anyone tell me what is the dual ending of Agni? Okay, make a choice. Yeah, H1, H1, H2, H3. Yeah. So make a choice. What is the dual ending? Is it first laryngeal, second laryngeal, or the third laryngeal? Yeah.双数结尾，大家知道是哪一个喉音吗 ？Okay, second laryngeal, first laryngeal. Okay, is any other answers? 还有没有其他的答案？大家3 ，OK， 好吧，齐了，不错不错，就是已经猜齐了，好吧，那再猜一下吧，好吧，那还有人想说吗？哦，没关系没关系，这个一般也不太会遇到，好吧？那我们既然是希腊语课，对吧？那我们来看一看，我们看一看希腊语的一个词，我们一起来看一看希腊语的一个词。So let's check a Greek word. Yeah. So actually, in the Greek dictionary, there's a word called ose. Sorry. It's not attested. No, it's not recorded here. So probably we can check the etymological dictionary. Wait a minute. I need to get the etymological dictionary. It's not here, right? Sorry, I need to reopen it. Wait a minute. So let's check this dictionary. It's better. Yeah. Okay. So I make it a little bit bigger. Wait a minute. Okay, so let's check a word in this dictionary. So this word is called ose. And yes. So let's check this word. So there's a word in in Greek. I think some of you can read German, right? So there's a Greek word called ose. What is the meaning of ose? The meaning is called die beiden Augen. So ose means die beiden Augen. So beiden Augen, both eyes. Yes. Yeah. Right? Both eyes. 双眼，两个眼睛，对吧？Now, based on this form, can anyone tell me what is the dual? What is the dual ending for acne? Yes. Yes. This one, check it. This is epsilon. Yeah, this is epsilon. Yeah. Okay. So based on this one, we know it's actually the same. Yeah, it's also agnih. Yeah. So they are same. Yeah. 哦，没关系，我知道的。Okay. So actually, the dual is the same as the instrumental. So if in this case, so actually in this case, the ancient people, or yeah, they just want to distinguish the two forms. 我不知道中文，对中文当然有很多同声字或者是同义词，对吧？那写法有的时候不太一样，对吧？那对于这种字母文字来讲，他们如果发音是一样的话，就很困难。中文还可以用不同的字形来表示嘛。梵语的话，它没办法，就是字母文字，或者印欧语嘛，印欧语都是字母文字，所以他们事实上是想区分不同的形式的。So actually, they actually want to distinguish between instrumental singular and dual. So how can they do? So what should they do? They need to make some change, right? Make some change to the stem. So now, one solution. So there's one solution. One solution is agni to agni. Yeah. Okay. So this is one solution. Yeah. And then probably you would wonder why should I put an in here? Yeah. Why couldn't I use a T or use a M or use a D, right? 就大家能明白这个问题吗？就是我说了，就是它为了区分这两种形式，所以它改变了它的词干。那为什么要改变词？就是它改变词干的一种方式呢，就是把它变成一个鼻音。You turn it into a nasal stem, right? And now comes another question. Why nasal? Why not T or P or K and so on? Yeah. Why N? Yeah. 好，回答这个问题的话，不是。那我们可以去看任何其他的例子嘛？我刚才举的例子，是 agni 对吧？那其实还有很多其他的例子，比如说，我看一看，那我们去看那个 Goto 的语法。So let's check the grammar by Goto. Yeah. So for this is masculine, right? Yes, this is here. And for wait a minute. Instrumental. 那我没有找到，稍微等会儿，这个字排的有点密。Yes, you take it here. Ahi, right? Ahi. Ahi is serpent. Ahi is snake. Yeah. And then instrumental is called ahina. Yeah. So ahi is snake, right? And the instrumental is called ahina. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Why must we use the n? The reason is, let's check. So actually, the reason lies in neuter. Yeah. Actually, in Sanskrit or in Indo-European languages, in PIE, there's a special group. There's a special group of heteroclitic nouns. So what is I think probably you heard about this before. 这个是异干，就是different. So actually, heteroclitic means actually different. Different stems, right? So nouns having different stems, and this is quite productive in Hittite. So let's check. Let's check the Hittite forms. I think you certainly remember this terminology before. So we check the Hittite. In the Hittite, this is a very productive group of nouns, and it's called heteroclitic. Yeah. And why do we call it heteroclitic, different stems? Because for this class, we have nominative, accusative in R, but genitive, dative, locative, all the other forms is N stem. So actually, this is a typical change or interchange between and N. So this stem we call the N stem, yeah. And this is kind of very popular. This is a word for water, and then this is a word for moment, yeah. And then this is a word for word, affair, and this is a word for blood, yeah. So you can see this is a very productive case, a productive class, yeah, right? And there's another class. Let's check it in Sanskrit. So in Sanskrit, we have another, we have this word. This is called asti, right? So we have a special group of heteroclitic nouns. This is the so-called en heteroclitic. And we have just seen in the Hittite, this is en stem, en heteroclitic, and there's another class called en heteroclitic, which is en 异干词. This is also preserved in Sanskrit. It's called asti, right? Knochen, bone. But for other forms, we have astan. So check it. So this E is only in nominative accusative. So it's just like the Hittite form, right? So the Hittite form also in nominative accusative. It's but in all the other cases, it uses an N stem. And just like this En stem, yeah. So it's just the same, yeah. And this is the reason why, and there's another point. This is a neuter, yeah. So actually, the asti, acne. So actually, the acne na is actually from how to say that? Yeah, influenced by the neuter, yeah, by the neuter, and we can actually check the neuter forms. Yeah. So this is a masculine, right? And then this is a neuter form, yeah, neuter. And you check it in neuter forms. Nominative accusative is E stem, but all the other forms, valina, valine, valinach, and so on, and they are all N stems, yeah. So actually, by neuter, and neuter is actually yin stem, yeah. Okay. 好吧，所以情况大概就是这样。OK， 那其实说到这里的话，大家能不能从这个东西再往下面深入一步？就这种相互影响的这种关系，其实可以说明梵语或者是印欧语最早期其实是两种性别，就是阴性、阳性是一类，然后中性是第三类。大家能明白这个逻辑吗？就是OK， 先等会儿，我先问一下，到这里大家能明白吗？就是为什么在 instrumental 的时候，它要用一个鼻音，就是因为呢，首先它的 motivation 是什么？就是我们在研究一个语言变化的时候，我们首先要 就是sorry, I first explain Chinese and then I will change to English。就是我们在研究一个语言变化的现象的时候，我们首先就发现出现问题，对不对？那出现问题之后，我们首先要想明白什么是 motivation， 就是为什么会出现这样。那在这个问题当中，为什么会出现这样呢？就是因为它出现了两种形式，就是两种语法形式，结果是一样的。所以为了区分这两种形式，就是它的样子是一样的，我们要区分这两种形式，所以这是一种 motivation。好，然后我们有了一个 solution 之后，我们就要想为什么要有这个 solution。好，然后为什么要有这个 solution 呢？就是因为在原始印欧语当中，它事实上存在一类对于中性词来讲，它存在这样的一种意干变化，意干词。那意干词呢，我们熟悉的，比如说是 rn 意干，这是一个非常熟悉的。那还有一类意干叫 en 意干。那 en 意干其实在梵语当中也是有的，就是我们刚才说的这个骨头这个词。我把这个关掉，有点太大，太碍事了。就是骨头这个词，就是一个很典型的意干的词，对 ，OK。所以呢，从这个中性的意干的这个词，然后引用了这个鼻音在这里，因为中性的这个意干词啊，大家看好了，它的主格和宾格都是一，那这个其实是和那个大家看一下，这个和 acne 是一样的，主格和宾格都是一，对不对？然后其他的格出现问题，所以它就从这个借过来了。好，这个大家能明白之后，我们可以进一步思考，就这种关系。So probably I first explain it in English for this part. So in order to explain something special, something unusual in linguistics in the forms, we need to first figure out the motivation. So what is the motivation for a change? So the motivation here is the two forms are identical. So we need to distinguish, or not we, but the people, the Indo-European people, ancient times, they want to distinguish these two forms, right? And how? And there's one solution: to change the stem. But why change it to a yin stem? Because in Proto-Indo-European, there's a very ancient class called Heteroclitic Class. It means that it has different stems for nominative, accusative, and all the other forms. And this is one of the most popular class, N class. But there's also another important class called EN class. This is preserved in ASCII. Okay, so this is the explanation. And then let's move on to the explanation, to a deeper thinking. Yeah, 就是出现这种情况的话，我们其实可以再思考一下。就其实这个本质上是可以说明，梵语虽然我们已经看不出来它的双性别系统，梵语就是最早离居吠陀就是三性别，对不对？但是像这种关系的话，其实可以暗示一下，或者是倒推回去，实际上本质是一种双性别系统。那为什么我给大家解释一下，就是为什么是本质上是一个双性别系统呢？就我们看好了，就是大家注意到这点，就双性别系统的意思就是说啊，它原来是有一个 common gender， 对不对？然后呢，还有一个 neuter， 对吧？然后 common gender 的话，大家想象一下，原来就是一个一，对不对？原来就是一个一，对不对？好，然后这个一的话，既保存在 acne 里面，对不对？也保存在 mati 里面。mati 是个阴性，看好了 ，mati 是个阴性 ，acne 是个阳性，就是也保存在 mati 里面，对不对？然后 acne 和 mati 的这个都是最古老的，就更古老的形式，对不对？好，然后呢 neuter 它也是一个一，对不对 ？neuter 它也是一个一，这没问题。但是呢，我们存在一个一和 n 的这个变换，有情无情，应该不是这个吧？你说这个怎么翻译这个啊？好啊，你可以翻译成有情和无情。好的，我以为说什么？好，那为什么？好，那我继续解释，就是说 原来的话它是一个 common gender 的和一个 neuter 的对不对？然后的这个 common gender 的的话保存在 acne 也保存在 mati 里面 ，mati 就在这里。好，然后出现混淆的情况了。混淆的情况是这个形式，然后呢，它是从一个阴性混过来的，所以说原本是共同的一个对不对？然后它出现混淆了，它的形式实际上是后来产生的，对吧？就这个 mati 的这种形式是后来延伸出来的。然后呢，这个 acne 也有一个特殊的情况，但这个特殊的情况是从哪来的？是从中性过来的，它并不是一个新产生的一个形式，对吧？它其实还是从中性过来的，所以这实际上是可以把它追溯到一个双性别系统的，好吧？但这个是一个题外话，就是大家可能在书上也不太能看到，这只是一种思考，大家如果觉得不能理解的话也没关系，好吧？有人能理解我的这个逻辑吗？如果能有人理解到，我会感到很高兴，我感到很欣慰。好的，可以，行，你们明白就可以了。好 ，Okay, so this is finished. This is part is for Sanskrit, and based on this one, let's come back to Greek. 这方面的研究，你是指那个就是性别的变化，就是性别系统的变化吗？这肯定有的，就是关于印欧语的这个gender system，那这肯定有，而且非常多，可以帮你找一个看一看。是，对，就是学界其实目前的共识其实也是更倾向于认为双性别是更原始的，然后从双性别我们可以演变出那个其他的性别，因为就像我刚才说的嘛，就是我们看那个 Dative 的这个形式嘛，就是女神，我们就看女神的这个形式嘛。那它是怎么来的呢？它实际上是 Dative 一个 common gender， 再加上一个 HR， 对不对？那 HR 是什么 ？HR 是什么 ？HR 是 collective，HR 是 neuter collective， 它并不是阴性啊，就这个是我们梵语当中学的阴性，典型的女神，对吧？阴性嘛，对吧？它怎么来的？它是加上一个 HR， 那这个 HR 本质上是一个中性集体名词，对，所以说是可以归回到那个双性别系统的。OK， 主要就是凡希可以上溯到双性别系统。对，就是希腊语也是可以的。希腊语反而是比梵语更加能够，is more telling, is more convincing because there's a very special case in Greek that plural neuter take the plural neuters take singular verbs， yeah. 就是在希腊语当中 ，so in Greek， 就在希腊语当中，中性复数，它实际上是用单数动词，实际上就是一种集体那个行为的概念。然后呢 ，plural neuter the ending is actually alpha, yeah. And this alpha you find it also in feminine forms, yeah. 对，所以希腊语和梵语的话是可以追溯到双性别系统。Okay, so I think this is too much for someone who want to listen, so to want to hear about Greek, right? 对，就是这个原因。对，这就是为什么在希腊语当中，复数中性是要用单数单数动词，就是因为它本来就是一个集体的概念。Okay, so let's move back to Greek. It's enough for Sanskrit. I think for someone it's too much. Yeah. Okay, so let's come back to Greek. So for someone who learned Greek, there's a very how to say that annoying, a little bit complicated word, or several, right? So this first is polis. So I put it here. Polis. This one is a little bit problematic. Another one is basileus, right? We have actually two words a little bit problematic. Why it is problematic? Because if we check the grammar, let's check Sanskrit. Let's check. Probably we can use a grammar. Wait a minute. The grammar table, you find it in the Cambridge grammar, right? So let's check it. Yes, this one. I think probably like me, yeah. As I studied in Greek in China, in Shanghai, and I found this word is really complicated. The form, right? Nominative polis, but genitive is called poleos, and dative is called polei, and accusative, well, local simpler, it's called polin. Yeah. So actually, at that time, these two forms is easier for me, polis and polin, right? But these two, well, of course, you can memorize. You can memorize, but how and why? Yeah. And this one is called polīs, and this one is called poleon, right? Polesin, polīs. Okay. So now let's explain this one. Yeah. So for this word, polis, so I use transcription here. So poly, this is actually the stem. The nominative is pretty easy, right? You have s, right? And this is the stem. So you just compare acne. So compare acnes, right? So it's basically the same. E, the stem. E is the stem, right? Is the stem. And S is the ending for nominative, right? And accusative is called Pauline. It's basically the same, right? Acne, yeah, acne. So here we have a special sound change in Greek. That is M at the end turns into an N in Greek. So this is a special sound change. So turns into a yeah, okay. But basically it's the same, right? So you have an E here, and you also have an E here. But now comes something interesting, dative. So dative is called polei, right? Polei. So how can we understand this? And polei actually goes back to polei. Yeah. And for this one, I have to write it like this one. Yeah. So actually, it is polei. Yeah. And you can compare acne, but it's different. Yeah. Why it's different? Because this E in Greek, so I put it here. So you find E in Greek, right? E in Greek is dative, right? Yeah. But you can also see in Greek, there are only 4 cases. But in Indo-European languages, we have like 7, 8, yeah, more cases. So what happened in Greek? So Greek language has actually combined several cases into a single form. 就是大家看希腊语的话，可以非常明显。稍微等一下，我待会儿去看你的问题。就是大家去看那个希腊语的话，就可以发现希腊语的格非常少，对不对？那为什么会这样呢？就是那唯一一种解释，它就是把原始印欧语的其他格都合并起来了，对吧？好，那其中一种情况就是这个希腊语的 dative。So actually, the dative in Greek go back to Indo-European locative. Yeah, this E is actually locative. Yeah. Okay, and then Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, we have dative and locative. So this is no problem. So in Sanskrit, we know this is a dative, right? Yeah, this is dative. This is dative in Sanskrit. But in Greek, there's no locative anymore. Locative is combined to dative. Yeah. But pay attention, this part is similar. This is a full grade. So this part is similar, full grade. Yeah. A and I. Yeah. Okay. 所以这就是这么来的，就是为什么它的 dative 是一个 polis 一样。OK， 那这个 e 的话原本是一个半元音，所以你并不会说，因为半元音就是怎么讲呢 ？So there's another sound change, but you can forget it. Yeah. So if we have in Greek, these two forms, 就大家如果在希腊语当中看到两个元音并在一起写，就比如说我写这两个元音并在一起写，或者我写这个 oo 并在一起写，那说明它原来肯定不是直接这么写的。那中间呢，有可能是一个 also， 这是一种可能。那还有一种可能呢，是原来呢可能是一个 all， 然后这个 your 的话，大家看好了是一个半元音的，是这种我们讲的 glide loud， 就是可以过渡一下音的这种 yeah， 但它会消失，所以就会写出来就会变成一个 oo。更早的形式可能是中间有一个 yeah， 所以跟这个一样，就是它原来中间是一个 yeah 这样的音。但是你不会真正写出来，就消失了，它就直接变成 polis， 对，这就是为什么这个 polis， 对，好 ，OK， so this is this part, and then let's come to the genitive. Genitive is a little bit complicated. We can actually check the historical grammar of leaks, right? Okay, so what happened here? So let's check the dative. So dative is called polis, right? Yeah. But what is the dative for acne? Acne is actually agnes, right? Yeah. Okay. So we know only this s is identical. 就这两个，如果大家做比较的话，是不是就发现只有 s 好像是一样的，对吧？其他的好像差得太远了。这里竟然有个 o 在这里，对吧？那为什么会出现这种情况呢？那其实主要是因为这个呢大家看好了so actually in Greek ao goes back to ao， 而这个发生什么变化？就相当于它的那个音长发生了交换， so kind of a exchange of the quantity of the vowel quantity. So originally it is actually ao, but with kind of a change of the quantity. And this is why we have in Homer. But how can we know this? Because the earlier form is preserved in Homer. Yeah. So this is the form in Homer. So let's take it. So Homeric Greek, it is written as polis。我重音就不写了，大家知道什么意思就行了。So in Homeric Greek, it's called polis. But in Attic Greek, there's a change of the quantity， 就是它的元音的音长会发生交换。原来，对吧？这大家能明白我在说什么，对吧？就是原来是一个 aos， 原来是一个 aos， 然后呢，就原来是一个 aos， 它会变成 ao 这样。元音音长会发生，但是为什么会发生变化？这个是我也不能解释了。对，这个可能是需要语音学家 phonetic。OK， and this form actually is regular, and with the a and with the os, and os is actually the genitive form. Yeah, and this genitive form you also find it in this grammar, right? So check it. So this is a genitive. This is a genitive. Us, os. So go back to os. Yeah. This is actually quite regular. And what is this a? And this a is actually the lengthened grade. Lengthened grade of E. Yeah, lengthened grade of E. So lengthened grade of E is called A. Yeah, A. And again, so A is actually not written. So yeah, just like this one. A is not written. Yeah, originally we have A. Yeah, and this A can be compared. So this lengthened grade. So this lengthened grade compare ak now. Yeah, but ak now is actually secondary. It comes from the U stem. So, but you can see this is the lengthened grade, right? In Sanskrit, you know this is U, and this is O, and this is Ao, right? And what is the name in Sanskrit grammar for O? It's called guna, right? And Ao is called vriddhi, right? Vriddhi. And guna in modern linguistics, it is called full grade. And vriddhi in modern linguistics is called lengthened grade. Lengthened grade. OK， 好，能明白吗？就是大家能明白这个是什么道理吗 ？OK， 可以，行，难为你们了，这个的确有点复杂，我承认，对，我的确承认这个有点复杂，但是希望你们能够明白这个背后是非常有逻辑的，这个背后是非常有规律的，就是希腊语的这种形式，希腊语的这个形式，你别看非常奇怪，对吧？你别看非常不能理解，对吧？但事实上是非常逻辑，非常符合原始印欧语的背后的逻辑在里面。OK， OK， 好 ，OK，so so probably we can make a stop here. This is the grammar part. And I also want to talk about suppletion, right? But probably we can talk about in our reading. So for the suppletion, we are going to use some examples. And it's better that we check the examples in our reading. So let's make a stop. And for the next part, we are going to analyze some words in this handout. Yeah. What I have already sent it to in our group. Yeah. So we are going to analyze some forms, but not all of them. I just select some difficult parts, especially this one. This is new efficusticon, called movable, 就是可变动、可移动的那个 in new。Yeah. 这个我要跟大家说一下，这个是希腊语当中一个非常重要的现象。对。OK， 好吧，那我们休息一下，然后我暂停录屏。Yes, I will. I think yeah, Puna Chadi can send it to you, right? Yeah, I think she can send it to you. OK， 然后再讲完之后再休息。OK， 好，那个我补充说明一下刚才关于词干和通性的没事。和刚才所谓的那个 common gender 通性的关系，就是说大家先看这个阴性词干的时候，会发现它有两种形式，对不对？好，然后这两种形式当中，这种形式事实上是和阳性是一致的，对吧？所以这个是 equal， 就这个是和阳性一致的 ，masculine 一致的，对不对？这两个所以说阴性的变化和阳性实际上是一致的，对不对？所以的话，我可以说，它们原本实际上是，既然是一致的嘛，就是既然阴性和阳性是一致的，那我可以归结为一个共同的 e-stem， 对不对？你随便喊它什么一个名字吧，你可以喊它阴阳性，也可以喊它 common， 对吧？阳阴性也可以，随便你喊它什么。就是因为这两个形式是一样的，所以我们可以重构说，可能有一个共同的e-stem， 对吧？好，然后从这共同的 e-stem 发生什么变化呢？发生变化就是， 阳性的话，它在工具格的时候，它会出现一个特殊的加了一个鼻音那种形式。那这个鼻音的形式到底从哪来的呢？它这鼻音的形式实际上是从中性过来的。所以说，然后呢，阳性然后所以说这个阳性出现的一个特殊情况、特殊形式，工具格的特殊形式，它实际上也是可以从中性变过来的，不会需要借助第三个性别，对不对？我完全可以在这个双系统里面实现 Agni 和 Agnina 这个形式，对不对？好，现在开始讲那个阴性，然后我们刚才不是说 Mati 它有2个形式嘛？好，这个第一种形式是怎么来的呢？第一种形式实际上是从 Dative 这种形式过来的。那 Dative 是怎么来的 ？Dative 它事实上本质上就是一个 common 间的 e stem 再加上一个 hr， 这 hr 本质上是一个中性的集体名词，所以还是可以从这个中性变过来。所以说大家看好了，我构拟一个双性别系统是可以解释所有3性别系统的，对吧？所以这就是为什么我说，其实可以从这个词干，你可以倒推出来，双性别系统是没问题的。能明白吗？就是大概理解这个概念吗 ？OK， 就大概理解这个逻辑到底是什么。Okay. 哦，没事，对，就是突破口，就是在这里，就这个是突破口，就大家看好了，阴性 e stem 它有2种形式，对不对？然后呢，这个第2种形式实际上是和和阳性是一模一样，没有差别。所以从这种形式，你根本不能区分它到底是阳性还是阴性，对吧 ？OK， 就是在语法形式上面你根本看不出来的。所以我可以认为，他们早期都可以归为一个一类，对吧？就这一类。好，然后从这一类的话，大家会发现，Acne 有一个特殊的变化。那这个特殊的变化是怎么来的呢？事实上是来自中性的变化，对吧？就是中性的变化的话，有一个 n 在里面，对吧 ？OK， 好，然后的话，我们怎么去解释它第一种形式呢？第一种形式是来自长音的 e stem。那长音的 e stem 本质上并跟性别没什么关系的，它事实上只不过是做了一种标记，做了一种集体名词的标记。然后这种集体名词呢，慢慢演变成一个阴性，慢慢专门演变成一类词。就所以说，怎么讲呢？这种，就是自然性别，就是大家要区分一个概念，就是语法性别和自然性别。我其实现在讲的是语法性别，就自然性别，大家古代人肯定还是能够区分男的女的，对吧？这是他们的 ideology 的，他们的那个观念当中还是能够区分男女的，对不对？但是在语法上面，他们不需要区分的，对。然后只不过是后来他们可能想在语言上面也进行区分，所以就专门从中性集体名词引入了一个新的概念。通性和中性分化，入阴性的比例是多少？不，你这样想的，就是所有的阴性其实都是从中性过来的，对，所有的阴性都是从中性过来的，它的结尾就是这个东西啊，就是什么叫阴性呢？就是我说的是语法啊，我说的是语法上的阴性。什么叫语法上的阴性呢？阴性就是 H2 呀，所以就是这个问题啊，就是大家对这个性别不要太觉得太神奇或者是什么，阴性其实就是一个 H2，然后这 H2 本质上就是一个中性集体名词。那阴性的话，大家想一下，我们熟悉的一个长音 R 结尾，对不对？还有一个长音 E 结尾，对吧？长音 E 结尾，这个本质上都是这本质上都是一个 H2，这本质上都是一个 H2，没有什么，不什么，一点都不神秘的，不用担心的，就是本质上都是一个 H2。OK， 它本质上都是一个集体名词，然后呢，他们就把这个集体名词重新拉出来，构造一个新的类别。啊，这个就像 哎，这个就像哎，大家去猜一下，那个 tofu 在德语当中是个什么性别，或者法语当中，法国人肯定也会说 tofu， 对不对？那 tofu 前面到底是用 了还是用拉？或者德语的话，到底是用 der die das？ 大家知道吗？我不知道，我去查一下吧，大家可以去查一下。但为什么它是中性？为什么它是阳性？就可能一般情况下会把它当成中性吧，我不是很确定啊，我们去查一下托福吧，去查一下托福。法语是阳性对吧？对，就这种对吧？德语也是阳性对吧？所以这种就相当于，所以这就有点是类似因为它没有什么标记嘛，就是因为法语的法语的阴性可能会有一些固定的结尾，对吧？有一些固定的结尾它是阴性，对吧？但这种没有特殊结尾的，他们就索性变为阳性，对吧？大概就是这样。是，对，好吧，那我们休息一下吧。这个反正是闲聊内容，大家可以随便聊。Okay, so this is actually the second part. Well, I'm not going to talk about everything. I just want to highlight some important topics. Okay, so as you can see, well, this is written in Chinese, but I will explain English. Yeah. Okay, so don't worry. Yeah. Well, this one is a little bit disputed. 就这个稍微有点争议，就是其实也没有什么特别让人满意的结果。是什么呢？就是 so this point, so actually in Greek, for polis, which we have just explained, there's a variant called polis, and not only for polis, for city, but also for like polemos, like war. We have polemos. It's the name. The meaning is war, and we have a variant called Ptolemos. And interestingly enough, Ptolemos or Ptolis with Pter is attested in Mycenaean Greek. It's always Pter in Mycenaean Greek. So it means that this is kind of a very early feature of such words. And how can we explain this? There are some disputes, and some represented by Hoych, this person called by Hoych. He's also a Dutch classicist and linguist, Hoych. And he has written a book called L'élément archéen dans la langue épique. So he talks about this feature as kind of a dialectal. Yeah. It's kind of a special feature in this dialect. And this feature is probably also preserved in Mycenaean, is preserved in Mycenaean Greek, but its origin is actually not for sure, not certain. And another person called Dunker, George Dunker, and he want to explain this Pter as kind of a incorrect separation inside a compound. So what is his point? So his point is that we have a verb, and this verb ends in a t. 就有个动词形式，这个动词形式是以 t 结尾。以 t 结尾的，大家可以想象一下，可能原来是一个injunctive， 或者是反正 anyway， 大家可以不用管到底是什么，就是原来有一个动词形式以 t 结尾，然后后面呢跟了一个比如说战争啊这样的词，然后呢，在希腊语当中啊，这个 t 啊，就是大家结尾的时候会消失，然后呢，所以他们就默认为是这样的一种断句法，就是早期的话是有 t 的， 但是后期的话，这个 t 就没有了。大家想象一下，那个 fe 就是比如说我给大家找一个动词形式给大家看一看。So I find a verb form and you will understand what I mean. Yeah. So for example, this verb 就是这个是一个非常常见的词，大家肯定都知道，对吧？就是这个词 paideu 对吧？所以说，wait a minute， 就是大家看那个希腊语，so actually in Greek, third person singular, what is the ending? The ending is 0, right? It's really weird. Why it is 0? It's pi deu a, right? Okay, it's a. Where does this a comes from? This a comes from actually a t. Originally it is a t, but with metathesis. Metathesis, yeah. So with metathesis, you should change. So what happened if there's a metathesis? This a and the e, the change position, yeah. 就是这个原本的形式，大家能明白吗？就是这是一个主题动词，所以你需要有一个词干元音。然后这个 t 的话是正常的梵语啊，其他语言都会有的一个正常的人称结尾，对吧 ？t， 对吧？这个我默认大家肯定都知道了 ，t 是第三人称单数。然后呢，这个 a 是一个元音主题元音，就是因为它是主题动词嘛，这个主题元音。那对于这种形式的梵语和希腊语，是吧？希腊语会发生metathesis 交换位置，对吧？那交换位置之后是会出现什么呢？会出现 it， 对，这种形式。就这个我应该标记一下，就是这个 t 和 i， 我应该这么写吧，不好意思，就这个 t 和 i 会交换位置。t 和 i 会交换位置，它会变成 it。那这 it 的话，在末尾的时候 t 会掉落，会变成 zero。t 会掉落之后，所以就变成 a。所以 a 是一个非常正常的第三人称单数的结尾。但是呢，Dunker 认为啊，就是 George Dunker 认为，给大家看一看，就 George Dunker 认为呢，最早期的时候希腊语还是有这个 t 的，然后这个 t 的话是保存在那个 Indo-European 里面。某一种形式吧，大家记好了。然后呢，因为是第三人称嘛，希腊人第三人称不是没有结尾嘛，所以他们就会在这里划分。So they just divide here。那出现这个之后，就变成 topolemos， 对吧？那 topolemos 就会变成 ptolemos， 对，大概这样，就再次交换了一个位置，大概这样的情况。能明白吗？就这个听起来有点匪夷所思，对吧？但人家这个是发了论文的，就是而且是 Glotta， 这个是世界闻名的那个古典学期刊，对吧？有点诡异，对吧？所以我说的，但此说法存疑，这是我自己加上去的一句话。OK， 觉得很可爱。OK， 好吧，没事。Dunker 这个人很好玩的。我跟你讲，好吧，这个是八卦，算了，还不讲了。那个讲课的时间，我就专心讲课吧。八卦下次讲，下次再讲 Dunker 吧。Dunker 是一个很好玩的人。Dunker 是一个应该怎么讲？嬉皮士，就是类似这种嬉皮士的那种感觉的。他早年的时候那个发型非常厉害的，就是那种大家可以看到那种流行摇滚啊那种风格的一个教授的。他是苏黎世大学的教授，非常厉害。可以，他是苏黎世大学的教授，对。OK， 然后苏黎世不是瑞士首都。后来我之前在网上说的时候，有人专门提醒我，苏黎世的就是瑞士的首都是那个伯尔尼 ，Bern， 对 Bern。Okay, so probably now we can talk about this special feature. 伊斯坦布尔也不是那个，也不是土耳其的首都。OK， 好。Okay, so let's talk about this very special thing. It's called New Heteroclitic Class. So what is the meaning of nu efekristikon? So it means that if we have a verb like this one, this is a verb we talk about. It means that I think it's saw, I think, yeah, it's saw, yeah. You find it, wait a minute. Yes, it saw, or he saw, yeah. Okay, he saw, yeah, okay. I probably should like this one, yeah, okay. He or she saw. But this verb has a variant called eden, yeah, called eden. And this n, we call it as, this n, there's a special name, we call movable n. Why it is called movable n? Because sometimes you see it, sometimes you not, sometimes not. For example, this eden, you find it before, this eden, you find it kind of before mobile, yeah, or mobile, no, sorry, mobile or movable, yeah, okay. Eden before vowel, but this one eden before consonant. There's such a distribution for others, yeah. So why do we have this variant? Sometimes some people would say, well, it's because meter, yeah. So we need to have a special hexameter. 就有些人说，哎呀，这个失律造成的。那我们为了匹配那个六音部失律，所以我们需要加一个辅音在后面。那还是回到这个问题了，就是你要加一个辅音，但它为什么就要加 n 呢？我为什么不加 t？ 为什么不加 p？ 为什么不加 x？ 等等，对吧？为什么不加什么对吧？为什么不加 p、t、k 等等？为什么需要加一个 n 呢？好，来源是这样的。事实上，最早期的时候啊，事实上还是来自系动词。So the origin is find it in copula， 就是在系动词当中。So in the copula, the third person singular is actually so let's talk about so after this topic we can finish today. Yeah. So B, so PIE, so PIE B is actually H, H. H1. Okay. So this is PIE verb be, right? Okay. And wait a minute. Yeah, this is PIE be, right? Yeah, this is be. And what is, and this is root, and we use root present because this is 这个是一个持续性动词，对吧？就是存在嘛，这是一个持续性的。So be or exist, it is actually a durative. So for durative, we need to have root present. So what is the root present of this verb? So root present, we just use the root, right? And then put a t. Okay. And this is for singular, right? And for plural, there's an upload, right? So for plural, we can't use, so for singular, we use full grade, right? But for plural, we can't use full grade. We need to use the 0 grade. So 0 grade, this one. And then we plus the ending, nt. So this is third person singular, and this is third person plural, yeah. And this is 0 grade, okay. 0 grade. And then, how can we build imperfect? Imperfect, you just use present with augment, right? Augment plus present stem, or present minus minus this e. We delete this e, right? So the imperfect form should look like this one. a, this is augment, right? And the e, deleted, this is the imperfect. So what is the result of this one in Greek? So this is a lengthened right? Sorry, lengthened right? And then you have a s in between, and then you have n, right? But pay attention, the last consonant is dropped. As last t, the t is dropped. Just like previously, you can see the t is always dropped at the end, right? Okay, so we have ASN, and this ASN, the s will become a h. Sorry, s will become a h sound, right? And then this is written as eta and n in Greek. So this is attested in Homeric Greek. But in Attic Greek, you find actually n. So this is actually you find in Attic Greek. Okay, and now comes the question. This form originally is they, right? They were, right? But third person singular, third person plural in Greek is not n, but an. So let's check the grammar. So let's check the, wait a minute, the imperfect. Let's check the grammar. Wait a minute. Yes, so take a look. Usually, we would expect an. An is the normal one. And this one, you can see, this is an, right? This is an. So third person plural, wait a minute, get it away, yeah. So this is originally they were, but in Greek, third person plural, past tense, really an. Yeah, this is the euro ending on. N is very kind of very special, as it's very strange. So they interpret this N as a with N, yeah. And this a, you find it, wait a minute. Yes, so take a look. Yeah, this is not a, this is too special. I need to find something common, yeah. So take a look. This is a normal, so check it. Again, this is an for third person. Check it. So as I said, third person plural, usually an. And this one looks so special for the Greek. And the third person singular is a. But forget the comma, forget the bracket. The bracket means a new acoustical, a mobile n. This is what we want to explain. But historically, it is the a. But why it is the a? Because originally it is it. So originally it is it, and this ter disappears. Originally it is it, but ter disappears. So we have a. So based on the similarity between this one, this a, and the third person, or it was, between the similarity between this form a and it was a, they imagine, well, it is probably third person singular, and with extra a. So 这就是为什么会有 So this is why we have a new acoustical. We have a mobile new. So I put it in Chinese. I explain a little bit. 就是 这一部分应该大家能明白吧？就是在构成未完成时的时候，它的形式是什么？未完成时过去嘛，所以需要一个 augment， 然后呢再加上现在时，然后你把最后的那个一再去掉就可以了。好 ，augment 词根对吧？我说的是第三人称复数嘛，第三人称复数的话，第三人称复数原来是这样，对不对？好，然后我们在构成未完成时的时候，就是这个形式，然后再加上一个词首 a， 对不对？好，在这词首 a 的话，大家看好了，这个 a 是变成一个长音的 a， 对不对？s 在中间，然后气结尾的气都会掉了，所以就会变成 sn。sn 的话，这个 s 又会变成送气的 h， 会变成这个。然后这个的话，送气的 h 就最后消失没了，所以最后就变成 an 这种形式。那 an 这种形式本质上原来呢是第三人称，就是他们曾经是，但是呢这种 an 第三人称复数的结尾非常罕见，就是非常少，一般情况都是 on， 大家可以看到这个 on 对吧？其他肯定还有这个都是 on 对吧？大家可以看到这边都是 on 对吧？所以说第三人称复数 an 的结尾对希腊人来讲非常奇怪，他们不能就是非常少吧，非常罕见。然后呢，第三人称单数的时候，其实有一个 a 在这里，然后我原因刚才也讲过了，理论上讲呢，原来是一个 at， 这个 a 呢是一个主题动词的主题元音，然后呢这个 t 是那个过去的第三人称，现在的话是 at 对吧？这个大家都知道，然后过去的话你就把这个一去掉，因为这个一的话是表示一种正在现在的一种小品词 particle， 所以表示过去的话你就把它去掉。然后这个七的话又记好了，就七在希腊语当中会省掉，就是 so this is a very important sound change. So t drops. OK， 所以说第三人称单数的话是 a 这个是一个正常的形式，所以他们就在想，哎呀，这个是不是很有可能是一个第三人称单数？第三人称单数，对，然后呢加了一个 u 在后面，然后他们就把这个然后就产生了这种变体，这种新的变体，有一个 n 的这种情况。然后他们把这种 n 的话就大量的使用在了其他形式当中，用到这种等等之类的，所以就会产生了这种 mobile n。能明白吗？就是这个大概的逻辑大概是什么？还是有点复杂，对吧？就是，但大家先尝试理解一下吧。就是我承认这个的确有点复杂，对。OK， 可以吗？可以就行了，对，好吧。Okay, so I think this is everything for today. So before we stop, let's make a very brief review of what we have done today. So today we talk about the E stem, right? So first we compare the Sanskrit E stem, Agni, Nam, Agnina, and this is actually yin stem, and also this one is also strange. Yeah, we try to explain this phenomena. It goes back actually to ablaut. So this one is actually four grade, the four grade of E, and this this N actually goes back to it's a little bit complicated, I know. Yeah, goes back to this E in heteroclitic nouns. Yeah. Okay, and then we talk about the feminine E stem, and this feminine E stem has two kinds of declension, and this one is identical to masculine, and this one is different. And this different forms is actually borrowed from the long E stem. Long E stem, we have it here. And just like the E stem, long E stem has ablaut here. So this is the zero grade, and this is the full grade. And this is the reason why we have I, yai, and yas here. And based on this, we try to explain the forms of polis and basileus we haven't explained, but it's basically the same. So the problem is dative. So dative here, polei, goes back to a full grade, just like in Sanskrit. And the genitive a little bit weird because this form, polis, is Attic form, and the Homeric form is look like this one. The long a is here, and short o is after this. And this short os is the genitive ending. And this lengthened a grade is can be compared with the Sanskrit aknau, because aknau ao is validity and it is the lengthened grade, right? Okay. And there's also some important information. In Greek, locative is combined to dative. So that's why we have an e here. Originally, it is locative, but in Sanskrit, it's a, it's dative, right? Okay. And then we talk about the change of per and pater. We talk about the theory of dialect feature by Heuch, and another a little bit genius or complicated process by George Duncan. Yeah, okay. And then we talk about the new mobile new. Where does it come from? It goes back actually to this one, to the copula word an. Yeah, they were. It is reinterpreted as the singular form. 就它原来是复数，但是呢，它因为结尾的这种很罕见，原来是复数，他们把它解释为单数了。然后单数的话是一个 a 结尾的，然后他们就认为这个 a 呢是一个可有可无的一种元素，然后进而那个拓宽到其他的动词形式。Okay, so this is basically for today. And as I explained, next Greek class, 22nd of August, we will start reading Iliad. So we start from the very first line. The first book, the first line of Iliad. So many aedetea. So you can prepare a little bit, but do not prepare too much. I won't analyze. We will not read a lot, but we will analyze a lot. Okay, so this is basically for today, and thank you for your attention until now. It's a little bit too much, too long. OK， 好，不客气，不客气。OK， 那个大家周末愉快。So have a nice weekend and have a nice evening. OK， 不客气，不客气。好，大家那个好好休息，保重身体。那个盛夏大家要多多休息，不要生病了。大家最近注意休息。好，那我们下次再见。好的，好，拜拜。OK，拜拜。